Today we are going to be analyzing a football debate on Zach Dijaleb's channel. I think he can explain the rules of the debate better than me.
Today I've got one Barcelona fan ready to go up against 20 Premier League fans. Fans will have to be the first to the chair in order to debate our Barcelona fan. The other 20 fans all have a yellow card, and if they disagree with what someone is saying, they can raise it. And if 10 yellow cards are raised, I'll send them off. They'll then be replaced by another fan until our debates are finished. Each debate is 10 minutes, but once they're done, they're done.
Lamine Yamal is the best footballer in the world.
Lamine Yamal is the best footballer in the world. Starting the timer in 3, 2, 1. Make your way up.
A few moments later.
I'm quite surprised that there wasn't someone getting up that quickly, because I think it is a debate, right? I think Lamine Yamal. I mean, first of all, why do you think that Lamine Yamal is the best player in the world?
Well, so I think first of all, it is subjective, and
Good to mention it is subjective, which it is.
and I did expect people to get up, but
Same.
But at the same time, the way I personally judge the best football in the world, I look at impact, but also how many different ways you can impact a game.
Yeah.
When I look at Lamine Yamal, first of all, this season, he's evolved into a stage where he's been man-marked.
Yes, Yamal was sometimes doubled, but a lot of the time he was made into 1v1s, and if he was doubled, it really opened up the attack for Barcelona.
By 2-3 players almost on an every game basis. And I look at how he's able to head oppositions from minute 1 to 90, essentially. First of all, I think his gas tank, his physicality
I would argue he should be more physical with defenders.
to run at the defender 90 minutes straight is incredible. And I don't think a lot of players have that along with his technicality.
Not a great point, because plenty of players can do that exact same thing. We look at Dembele, Olise, Mbappe, whoever you want to throw into that.
You look at his ability to pass, but it's not just one element of chance creation, it's outside of the foot, inside of the foot. It's dribbling through 3 or 4 in tight spaces, in transition. So there's just so many ways he can hurt you. And then when he gets to the top of the box, his ball striking is just so good. And that sort of curler top corner is something he's made a habit of. And I mean, his goal catalogue speaks for itself. So I just think the avenues in which he can hurt you supersedes most footballers, or every footballer I know at the moment.
Good point, but maybe we should add a fact or two.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty strong argument.
Bro came up, expected a bad argument from the Barcelona fan that didn't work, and now he's all nervous. Great job.
I think with Yamal, I think Yamal is the first player since Messi that we've seen who could get to his level on a long-term basis. So I feel like in 5-6 years' time, we're going to be talking about one of the best players ever.
Good use of hands, but that also might just be nerves or just how he is, his temperament.
Ready. Mm-hmm. But I would say I do feel like his age counts against him just a little bit, given that we've only seen him play for 2-3 years. And when you look at the performances of someone like Kylian Mbappe in a dysfunctional Real Madrid team this season,
I would argue Real Madrid are dysfunctional because of Mbappe.
and he, the output that he's getting out is amazing.
No way, bro, put Mbappe into this already a bad start. We need to really be throwing in Dembele or a different player at least.
The output throughout his career since he was 18, 19 has been world class.
Okay, here a fact would help, but you didn't do your research.
Season on season, you look at the numbers that Kane's put up over the last couple of years as well. Don't think I'll put Kane in that conversation because I just think Mbappe has a bit more to his game. He's a bit more, the qualities that you describe in Lamine Yamal. I think Mbappe has pretty much all of those aside from his delivery into the box. Equally, if Mbappe was playing more on the left or on the right, maybe we would see that part of his game come out a little bit more. But for me, I think Mbappe still just about edges it. I think Lamine Yamal's part of a better team.
No way, bro just said Real Madrid is a worse team than Barcelona on paper. What is this guy talking about? And then the fact that he has the balls to say Mbappe is better than Yamal. Yeah, get this guy out of here. I don't ever want to see him
Mbappe,
again.
you could argue that maybe him being part of Real Madrid makes them a worse team, but nevertheless, he is the only one really producing. And, Real Madrid could win the league this season. Like La Liga is still really, really tight. And if they do
A good tip when debating is to look at your opponent. However, this guy's not, and it makes him seem way too uncertain of himself.
then I find it hard to look past Mbappe as the best player in the world.
I actually considered this, and I think it's a fair position. But when I was thinking about my argument, because I just didn't want to be baselessly tribal and argue ridiculous positions, but when I was thinking about it, I find I see a very clear distinction between like individuality and collective success. When Mbappe came to Madrid, they just won the Champions League. They were pretty much the best team in the world. Carlo Ancelotti was at a high. Vinicius played his best season in ages, and people spoke about Mbappe coming in and potentially disrupting the dynamic. Of course, I think a bigger part of Madrid's downfall is losing Kroos and Modric, but Mbappe leaves PSG. They rebuild with a younger squad. They have better chemistry and they go on and win the treble, right? Mbappe comes to Real Madrid and you can clearly see certain friction going on, especially Vinicius. His output's fallen down a hill since Mbappe's come in.
Good, he attacked the point that I recommended, and now the other guy's dead in the water with no real momentum in this debate.
With Lamine Yamal, it's gone the opposite way. Barcelona become better. When Hansi Flick came in, Barcelona, they didn't have a chance. And then the chemistry with Rafinha, there's no ego.
I would argue Rafinha has a bit of an ego, but it's all right because his point is solid, as Yamal doesn't really have an ego
In that side, and I think collectively, Lamine Yamal makes Barcelona a better team. Whereas with Mbappe and Real Madrid, I don't think you can say that Madrid are a better team now with Mbappe than they were pre-Mbappe. There are other factors to that as well, of course.
Yeah, because I feel like it might be harsh just to put that down to Mbappe.
It's not down to Mbappe.
I feel like Mbappe enters a team, Real Madrid, that historically has had a lot of egos, still does have a lot of egos, especially if you consider Vinicius in there and the other players trying to get into that forward line.
I think like if you take Mbappe out of Madrid, I don't think they'd be much worse. But if you take Lamine Yamal out of Barcelona, I think we'd be much worse because we just don't have that player. The things he can do on the football pitch, no one can replicate. But with Mbappe, when you take him out, Vinicius just becomes more of a player, more responsibility. And they also have more of certain harmony in the front line with Rodrigo coming centrally, and then Brahim maybe on the other side, or Masantuano. So they just have a lot of quality. And I think the harmony is better without Mbappe. And I think that's a point against him being the best player in the world, because I think the best player in the world is very holistic. It's not just about what you do individually, but also what you can do for your team, because it is a team sport.
Yeah.
Okay, Barcelona fan is absolutely crushing this debate, and this guy should be sent off by now.
I'm pretty happy with that. I could argue about Bruno Fernandes,
Go
but
on.
that's for another day.
I thought Harry Kane might get there. I thought I might mention a Harry Kane number at Bayern Munich.
Yeah, I mean Harry Kane's been
Dembele won the Ballon
amazing.
d'Or.
Yeah, if Dembele hadn't been injured so much this season,
Everybody
I'd
else
argue
been
as well. Yeah, but he's had a bigger impact this season still. Yeah, I guess.
I thought Declan Rice was a big one for Arsenal fans for a while. It's all
I mean,
right.
we can count on to Harry Kane, but I'm happy. I'm happy. Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
Cool. Yeah,
Absolutely
I'll
fine.
argue. It's nice.
Bro knows when to accept defeat, lol. The Manchester United fan picked the wrong player, and he was exposed by the Barcelona fan, who had a great debate and strong points. Let's see how the second guy does.
Well done. Does anybody else want to come up and... Oh, here comes Declan Rice. Come on, Waleed. Welcome, mate.
I'm not going to say Declan Rice, shockingly.
That's
My thing was, I actually thought that it was just based on form. That's why I kind of just sat back and said, all right, fair enough. But I still, kind of what Michael said before in terms of the fact that his age and how long he's been doing it for, I know it doesn't really count with who I'm going to say, but I think Ousmane Dembele for me is still the best in the world, in my opinion, because if you talk about impact...
A major tip, if someone sets a guideline like impact for the Barcelona fan, make sure to not argue on their terms.
For example, what Lamine Yamal obviously has done with Barcelona has been incredible, but you look at Dembele, who's gone in that side, had a very tough season initially when he came in, but was still kind of helping from that perspective of making PSG a better team. And then what he does in that second half of the season last year, I wouldn't say near enough single-handedly, because it's not like everyone done their bit, but he was the star man round the 16, quarterfinal, semi-final, final, even though he didn't score, I think got 2 assists, like got man of the match, I think. No, it was Dewey, but you know what I mean? Like in all the big games, has stepped up. I even watched him I think the game just now against Marseille, I don't know if you guys saw the goal he scored, but it was like literally weaving out of 3-4 players, smacking it top bins with his right foot. Like his technical ability for me is still a joke. And I think what he does in the big moments, especially
Good point, Pease. You could target Yamal in the Champions League.
when Mbappe left, to kind of take that mantle when a lot of people didn't want him, especially at PSG. Like he went in because there was a release clause in his contract and nobody was trying to activate it. So like everybody thought it was a flop. So to go from like, for example, in the 2022 World Cup final, he got hooked off the pitch, it was a horrible, terrible performance. That renaissance to now win that Ballon d'Or and to still be producing the level that he's been producing at, although with the injuries that he's had, I just think with PSG, they would be in a worse situation if Dembele was there in comparison to Barcelona. Because when you look at, for example, you had Pedri, he was running a lot of your games last season. For me, was the best midfielder in the world.
Calling Pedri the best in the world at CM is crazy, but that's for another debate.
You look at Rafinha, I think he got 38 goals, 16 assists, something like that for club and country. Was your captain for most of the season as well. Incredible. I think your whole team is also the reason why you are one of the best teams in the world. But I think with Dembele, if you take him out of that piece at PSG, I just don't think they win it.
This guy actually has facts, and currently he has made a very strong argument for Dembele. Let's see how Barcelona responds.
I agree with most of what you've said about Dembele. I think, first, as a Barcelona fan, most Barcelona fans are bitter towards Dembele. I think he's great. Like, I watched him at the club and I didn't want him to leave. And what he's become now, I couldn't have seen coming. You know, he's so mature. He's taken up a central role. We saw that under Koeman a few years ago, him playing centrally is a bit of a false nine. And it was interesting, but I never thought he had the understanding to play that role. But he's come in, done a great job. The point that I would disagree on is that PSG would be a better side. I mean, Barcelona are a better side without Lamine Yamal, and PSG wouldn't be as good without Dembele. I think PSG, if you look at their side, they have Barcola, they have Doué. Their front line generally...
Yeah, but they have no striker really besides whoever Gonzalo Ramos is at this point.
Has players off a greater level, whereas if you look at Barcelona, right now, Lewandowski is 38 years old, 37, 38. Ferran Torres, he's a good rotational player, but he's just not at that level. So it's basically just Lamine Yamal and Rafinha, and then the likes of Fermin Lopez and Dani Olmo. I think Lamine Yamal brings that front line together and has been doing. People bring up his age. I think his age does work in his favor. People, Lamine Yamal has time. He's only 18. He's only 18 and he's still performing as one of the best in the world. I think that should raise his case.
Yeah, I think it's also the same with the attack at PSG, because you mentioned like Barcola, for example. I think he's a great player, but he still hasn't refined his game yet. You can say the same with Desiree Doué as well. We all see the talent, but he's not the complete player yet. They've got a couple other guys in the attack, like maybe Ramos and those players who aren't ready to take that mantle and step up. And when PSG were crying out for that player when Mbappe left, who's going to be the guy? They more so, I mean, obviously they're bringing like Coleman and all these guys for big money, and no one can fill those shoes. And I think obviously Kvaratskhelia coming in kind of elevated that team as well. But I think it's also Dembele doing his bit and kind of saying, okay, I'm going to be the guy to get this attack over the line, which is what won them the trophies that they won.
One of my points, again, that I'll say is that PSG have a very unique luxury of being able to rest players at very frequent intervals. Lamine Yamal plays 90 minutes week in, week out, doesn't get a rest. Now, that is in part down to our own management of him, but the mandates on him are just way high.
He was making a good point, but unfortunately, Zach stopped it for some reason. Like, bro, let him finish his point. I edged this debate slightly to the Arsenal fan just because he made a really good point about Dembele, and the Barcelona fan couldn't figure out a way to counter it. However, this was a great debate, unlike the first one. If you enjoy videos like this, make sure to consider subscribing and liking and commenting on the video, and I'll see you in the next one.